So it's been a pretty busy weekend. Since Thursday night, we've had 5 ewes have lambs, so we've had our hands full. So it started out late Thursday evening. This ewe went into labor. We kept an eye on her. She was having some real problems. We ended up having to pull her in because she really wasn't progressing the way we wanted her to. Basically, when they're in labor, they put out a little fluid sac. Well, her fluid sac wasn't really like coming out. It was there, we could see it, but it wasn't protruding from the body or anything. We started checking on her. It was an extremely hard pull. She had twins. The first lamb that we pulled was severely premature. That's probably why she was having a hard time. It just wasn't ready to come out yet. The second lamb that we pulled was perfectly fine. In fact, she actually went into labor right on the right time from a day that she had just a really light red mark on her from a crown. So what I think happened is she got bred over the course of 2 different cycles. So there was 2 lambs in there at different stages of gestation, and I'm really not sure how common that is or if that's even what happened. We're just kind of guessing at this point, but she's doing really good. This lamb's doing really good. We've been giving her some medicine because it was a hard pass for her to get the umbilical cord and everything. So it's something we really didn't film much of. It was just, it's pretty graphic. There was a lot of, fluid and blood and stuff like that. And so currently they're doing okay. That's a ewe lamb. Seems to be doing great right now. So we'll keep an eye on her, but everything seems to be going fine. So that brings us to this next ewe. This is Diamond here. She's one of our registered Suffolk ewes. I walked out here about 5:30 on Friday morning. She already had this ewe lamb up, cleaned off. It was pretty much dry. She had plenty of milk, been taking great care of it. She got it tucked away up there in the corner right now because we just tagged it and banded its tail and stuff like that. So she's really watching over it. But this ewe lamb has been doing a great job growing, and this ewe's really taking great care of it. So that leads me into these last 2 ewes right here. I checked the cameras at about 2:45 on Friday, overnight into Saturday, and I could see a lamb on camera. So I got dressed and I came out here and I walked into this situation. So what it looks like to me is these 2 ewes laid down right next to each other and had their lambs basically on top of each other. The issue was the oldest lamb was up and walking around, and these 2 ewes both were trying to claim it. They were both very concerned with it, chasing it around the pen, trying to lick on it and get it wrangled back into the area where these 2 other lambs were laying. So what I ended up doing was getting 2 lambing jugs set up, kind of splitting the lambs off the way I thought they were to go, and watched. And what ended up happening is this ewe went into this pen and started licking on these twin lambs here and really starting to basically accept them. I pulled one of them out, put it in this jug because this ewe went in here with this lamb and she didn't want anything to do with that lamb, nudged it away from her. And I'm kind of assuming maybe I was right, but I can also take this lamb out of this pen, put it in here with her, and she'll let it go up, get a drink of milk, she'll lick on it, clean it off, but I don't know. So in here with these twin lambs, the smallest one, which was only 7 pounds at birth, we actually have a jacket on. I ended up about 7 a.m. just taking it in and putting it on a warming box. We let it get in there for a couple hours, get warm. It started looking for her. So we actually made a little bit of colostrum in a bottle, gave it to it, brought it out here, put it on her. She did a pretty good job with it so far. The other lamb we really had no issues out of, but I don't know. I'm really not sure if I have the lambs guessed right, but so far she's taking care of them, so that's working out pretty good for us now. So this has been a first time for us that we had 2 ewes have lambs basically on top of each other, and I think it was really hard for the ewes because they couldn't really tell, I think, from scent or whatever because their fluids had mixed over, the lambs were crawling on top of each other. So I think it might have been a little bit hard for the ewes to tell which lamb belonged to them. I actually was a little bit worried because I didn't really want to dry off these lambs, because in the beginning it kind of seemed like either you really didn't want anything to do except for with this lamb right here. That was the one that they were both really concerned about, both kind of chasing around, seeing what was going on. This ewe really dotes over this lamb. I mean, she's always concerned with it, checking on it, licking on it. But whenever that lamb starts making noise and gets up and moves around, this ewe sticks her head through the pen still just to kind of check it out. So it's been very concerning to make sure that they both accept the lambs that they have and raise them. And like I said, it's been a couple days now so far. Everybody seems to be doing good except for this little one here with the orange jacket on still. He's really struggling to just catch up and figure out the way of the world for him. And we're hoping that he picks it up, but we don't know. And that was a rough day. I spent 20 hours total up throughout the day checking on these lambs, making sure everybody's doing okay. Like I said, we had to warm that one lamb up, and then I came out here today after really not messing with anybody yesterday, and that lamb had got out of the pen, I think looking for us in a bottle or something, and it was over in the corner curled up cold, so I had to take it back in and put it in the warming box for about 4 hours today. It got lively again. I supplemented it with some milk, brought it out here, put it on her, and so far it's doing okay. It's up moving around, but again, I think it's looking for us for support with some extra milk because it's really confused still, that lamb is. The ewe's doing a great job trying to coax it into what it needs to do, but it's just having a hard time understanding. So we had all that action on Saturday all throughout the day. Saturday night I was out here in the barn at 11:30 checking on everybody. Nobody looked to be in labor or anything like that. Looked at the calendar and realized that we didn't have a ewe due for her early date, would be 4 days away from Sunday, so we thought we'd have a pretty laid back day. I checked the cameras about 3 o'clock in the morning. I didn't see anything on them then. Rachel checked them again about 5:30, didn't see anything on them then. And when I came out here sometime between 6:30 and 7, one of the first time ewes had a lamb. Now she did everything right. She was over in the corner, she had this lamb, it was still warm, she had just had it, but it was unresponsive. She was pretty rough with it, trying to get it up, trying to lick on it and paw at it with her hoof, trying to get it up, but the lamb just wasn't alive. We're not really sure what happened just because we didn't notice her in labor. She wasn't supposed to be in labor for another 12 days was her actual due date. So this lamb is a little bit early, but it was full grown, fully developed. We're not really sure if it was just a hard birth or a stillbirth or what. You know, like I said, you walk out here and you walk into that and weren't expecting it. Thought we had a few days off from lambing, but we got that ended up taken care of. Got her kind of marked, sorted off to the side. She's going to be headed over to the bank barn just to be fed out over there and to make a little bit more room for the sheep that are here. But one of the biggest problems that we're running into right now is we weren't expecting this. We needed to have Rusty pinned off on the side on his own. After talking with the vet, we've had to extend his hoof treatments. So I ended up just sectioning off this little area here so he can still have access to this hay rack away from those two other rams. That way he didn't have to compete for any feed or water. That way he can just basically lay over here, recover, take it easy, and not have anybody else pushing around on him while he's trying to get up and move around. So that's something I wasn't expecting that I was going to have to do. So that took up this whole area that we were going to have some of those ewes with their lambs in. So that's why we're kind of having to figure things out now a little bit different, because with all those ewes having their lambs at the same time and Rusty having to be over here, I have almost every gate we have in use. So I'm trying to make some new gates really quick so that way we can get some areas sectioned off.